Good day, I'm Askar Sharif, and these are the latest news from Kazakhstan. Arzan retail chain security employs electrical shockers against its employees, demanding the salaries. Passengers are stuck in Astana airport, where many flights were delayed due to the maneuvers held at the nearby Air Force base. Police in Almaty have detained people who presented furniture to the district station. A scuffle between the workers and security guards of one of the famous retail stores chain took place in Almaty yesterday. As a result, a woman was hospitalized. Meanwhile, the company management told workers about its financial problems. Next report has more.
A 2-month salary delay had forced the Arzan retail chain staff members to go out for a strike. On Thursday afternoon, more than 40 workers gathered in front of the store. The workers have yet to be paid from $700 to $1,000 each. Moreover, the porters and cashiers were announced of dismissal. The chain of stores employ total more than 500 people. They forced all of the employees to write letters of resignation and haven't explained us anything. We got fired, it's okay, but let them pay us off. Since the administration didn't react anyhow, workers tried to break into management. The security guards have blocked the way and scuffle had started. Malika Sabitova flaked out after being hit by electroshocks. Malika, come back. An ambulance which arrived in 15 minutes had taken the young woman to a hospital. In the meantime, the store administration had sent a delegate for talks. Employees' representative told that they also suffered from these actions, as the finance director was covered up by splinters when workers have broken the door. Daniel Tartakovsky explained to redundant workers that the company is in crisis currently because of their liquidity position and trade finance problems. Redundant workers got paid according to schedule by July 31st. As you know, all ex-workers must go through inspection of inventory and other related process. Only then they get fully compensated. Workers didn't trust the management's promises and said they have been claiming it for a month already. I said, okay, give us a written guarantee that we get paid by Friday and we'll disperse. We could have waited for a week, it's okay, but there is no such guarantee. As gathered, intimidated, the spontaneous meeting turned into long-term strike. The department store workers intend to wait for the accountant for as long as needed.
Defense of the Kazakhstan's ex-leader encountered new challenges. Mukhtar Jakishev's lawyer can't get the copy of the court's resolution, which is causing a delay of a cassation appeal to the Kazakh Supreme Court.
The appeal instance repeated the verdict made by the previous instance court by sentencing Mukhtar Jakishev for 14 years of imprisonment. Now the convict intends to apply to the Supreme Court Supervisory Board. However, Jakishev's lawyer hasn't still received a copy of the court's resolution. Moreover, during 2 weeks, the lawyer cannot get access to his client, who is detained at the National Security Committee pretrial detention ward. According to BCKF, the health condition of the Kazakhstan's ex-leader had seriously worsened. 2 weeks ago, he had suffered another hypertensive crisis. On March 12 this year, Mukhtar Jakishev has pled guilty for embezzlement of funds in his custody and receiving a bribe. However, convicts' relatives and friends are sure that the sentence is nothing but a politically motivated action. Today I was received by the chairman of the appeal board of the Astana City Court. The Judge Joldasbekov, who was also called up for this meeting, had agreed to provide me an opportunity to get acquainted with the resolution tomorrow. But why couldn't he do that earlier? Why create obstacles? I can't understand this.
In case of some other convicts, a light of hope had appeared on the horizon because of President Nazarbayev's recent declaration of law enforcement system reforms. Ruslan Bakhtigarev lays a hope in getting amnestied in the light of upcoming changes.
The human rights defender Evgeny Zhovtis and the editor-in-chief of Almaty Info newspaper Ramazan Yesergepov, who are currently serving prison terms, have received an opportunity to be freed. The initiative of Nursultan Nazarbayev to reform the law enforcement system has liberal backbone. The head of the public fund Journalists in Trouble, Ruslana Taukina, is already predicting the upcoming liberalization of the system. Kazakhstan is preparing to hold a significant summit which will gather the heads of states from around the world. Will all the country leaders arrive to the summit or will they send their assistants? This is what Kazakhstan is concerned about at the moment. Maybe this moment alone will force our government to free the human rights defender and the journalist. The pressure from the international organizations is another factor that pushes the government to free the human rights defender. Just recently, Yesirgepova's wife, Raushan, has gave her consent to the American non-governmental organization Freedom so that it would protect her husband. This organization protects the rights of human rights defenders around the world. The international human rights defending organization Freedom House has urged the President Nursultan Nazarbayev to pardon Yevgeny Zhovtis and free him early. The crime committed by Yevgeny Zhovtis is of the lowest severity, and considering the humanization, the crimes of the low severity will have to fall under this initiative. The early discharge of Yevgeny Zhovtis and Yesirgepov is an open issue, but the relatives lay hopes on December OSCE summit. They think that the liberalization moods are directly connected to the upcoming summit.
Public activists held an unusual campaign in Almaty yesterday. Journalists of the Respublika newspaper, along with the Alga unregistered party members, have presented furniture to one of the district internal affairs department. According to action initiators, 5 plastic chairs and a wooden table must improve the interior of the station. The next story has more.
Will you take the table? No, I'll not take the table. The journalists are unloading 5 plastic chairs and a wooden table. This is a humanitarian aid to the law enforcement bodies from the editorial staff of the Golos Respubliki newspaper and the unregistered party Alga. The police have kept the gates closed, so the presents were passed over the gate. We made this present to the district administration of internal affairs because they have lack of chairs, because we've been waiting there for almost 3 hours standing. So we thought that this is a violation of human rights and decided to restore the right of citizens to sit inside the building. In 15 minutes after the start of the action, the police have suddenly reacted. They have detained an activist of Alga, Ayjan Gulamirova. She had a poster in her hand saying, "From Alga to the Almaty Internal Affairs Department." The next detainment was even more severe. The activist of Alga, Kenje Adenova, was asked to bring the table inside and she was detained after she did that. The instant action lasted for 23 minutes. Upon the end of the action, the only question that remains unanswered is whether the policemen will use the presents. 3 hours after the incident near the police office, the Alga party has called a briefing. It turned out that after the transfer of the humanitarian aid, 2 of the activists received notices of appointment. The people are suspected in organizing an unsanctioned protest action. The party members have evaluated the police actions as inadequate and illegal. The major told us that we should instead fix the plumbing and build lavatories so that people would wash their hands after fingerprints. I told him, and you will give me 6 to 7 years of imprisonment to that if you propose Article 373 for the table. The court hearing over the action participants is scheduled for August 20th, but already today they are confident that it will be impossible to avoid the punishment. The presidential humanization of the administrative system has not yet reached the executive officials. Nevertheless, the police officials have accepted the humanitarian aid.
In order to regulate the flour and bread prices, the Kazakh authorities will partially reimburse the grain processing enterprises on their expenses. A special state decree signed by Prime Minister on July 16th was officially published yesterday. It will fully come into force within 10 days after the publication.
The document, however, doesn't specify which parts of penalty costs will be compensated. The funds amount allocated for it is not also known. The document outlines that the amount for partial compensation will be identified by the forecasted inflation level. Regulations state that these funds will be used only for stabilization of flour and bread prices. In July, prices for bread products have skyrocketed in some regions of Kazakhstan. Eventually, the state inspection bodies accused businessmen in price collusion. Here we are approaching the storehouse of state wheat resources. Aktubinsk hasn't yet received the aid promised by the government. Back in July, Prime Minister Masimov had ordered to create grain stabilization fund in the region with 122,000 tons of wheat to be brought in from the northern regions of Kazakhstan. The prices for bread remain at the same level only because of the region's reserves, which may end by the end of this month. In addition, a choice grain intended for a salmon is used for producing a flour, which may negatively affect the next year's harvest.
Конечно, которые в прошлом году собранное зерно.
Of course, last year's crop is full value grain. Moreover, it is of a recognized variety. Obviously, it would be better to use them for salmon and bring the food grain in from other regions. Well, authorities will decide what to do.
С других регионов.
For 2 days, passengers flying out of Astana are stuck at the airport. The next story explains what the mass flight delays in the Kazakh capital were caused by.
Mass flight delays are registered at the Astana airport yesterday, as jets were let in and out of it only according to the strict schedule. Meanwhile, passengers found out about the flight schedule changed in the last minute. No one gives full information. This is already the fourth cancellation. We are here for several hours. We came for conference and can't get back to Almaty. No one knows why. The flight delay started on Wednesday, but the reasons were announced only yesterday. The National Air Carrier press service had informed that the delays were caused because of the Kazakh Air Force rehearsals for the Constitution Day held nearby the airport. Since the Air Force base is located within 1.5 kilometers from the airport, it was decided to stop the flights for duration of the maneuvers. We understand and accept the claims of our passengers, but our company is also suffering from the situation. Therefore, we believe all the claims must be addressed to the corresponding authorities. The decision to stop the civil aviation operations during the maneuvers is also linked to passenger security concerns. However, say the airline representatives, passengers suffering inconvenience instead, as many of them got late to their business meetings, while others lost their vacation days. It seems, though, some passengers intend to get compensation only if they knew whom to sue in this case.
These were the latest news from Kazakhstan. Thank you for watching us. Goodbye.